if I'm upside down. I hope not. Such a lush day. It's gonna be a hot one too. Well, hot for Tassie. 31 degrees Celsius, which, I don't know, someone will have to do the Fahrenheit conversion. Good morning, Tanny. I had a feeling you'd be the first one in. You usually are. How are you today? Have you been to bed yet? Thought we would go for a little, we'll have a little chat on my usual stroll. Because it's such a gorgeous morning. It's already so warm. We're heading for a top of 31 today, Tanny, which is pretty hot for Tassie. If you put 4 or 5 degrees on top of that, that's like 31 in Hobart. Feels like 36 if you're in Adelaide. So yeah, it's going to be a hot one. But I've got some paperworky type stuff I've got to do today and some cooking I want to do, so get out down to the beach before it gets too hot. You had a coma today. Hi Kylie. Hey, I meant to respond. I saw you put a comment under one of my Smooth Criminal things, I think. Sorry I haven't got back to that yet. 8 degrees for you. You're freezing. Far out. Hey, which beach do you feel like going to? Should we go down to the usual beach or should we go to Red Ochre, Blue Lagoon? Any preferences? Just because we're standing at the crossroads. It does look pretty beautiful down on the big beach. Down on my beach. Might go down to Carlton Park, I think. But yeah, had a bit of a think about doing a live. Maybe later today, I don't know, sometime. Well, we can all, you choose. I've chosen. We're going to Carlton Park. Yeah, just a chat I was having with Bridget last night about the YouTube shenanigans. I'm thinking, you know, there's been a lot of stuff coming out. A lot of the big creators are all jumping onto it and doing lots of lives and having people up on panels, mainly other creators. But I'm kind of big beach. Good work, Kylie. That's where we're going. But I was kind of thinking, you know, from a sub perspective, how's this affecting everyone? Okay, now we've got some dark blobs out in the water that I can see. They look like critters of some description. Not critters, the sub. So keen to go down and see if they're... I don't know if you can see them. I mean, it could just be seaweed. But down below there's two... I think they might be... I don't know. There's no, I can't see any other bits floating around. And it's not a very seaweedy beach. So anyway, we'll investigate that. Hey, Mojo. Oh, it is pretty gorgeous today. Well, it's stunning today. We've got a very warm day for Tasmania coming up. You would understand Celsius, being English. 31 degrees, which is, you know, pretty sort of average summer temperature for Australia wide. But for Tassie, it's quite a hot day because we've got a very bitey sun, and most people who come here from the mainland realise that, yeah, when they see 31 on the screen for a summer's day here, it's more like 35, 36. It does affect subs badly, Tanny, and that's the thing. I was thinking it'd be nice for us to maybe have a bit of a chat about it now, and maybe I'll do a live, like I'll schedule a live for subs to have their say on it, because it's conflicting. I think a lot of it is how... Hi Jen, how are you? I think a lot of it boils down to whether you're directly affected by it, how you look at YouTube and the creators, how invested you are in the people that are involved, if you're one of the people in the spotlight. But there's all these sort of different factors, but at the end of the day, we all watch YouTube creators and, you know, become mods and get interested in particular creators, and they do feel like friends. And in some instances, they, you know, they become friends. And sort of like, there'd be seaweed. There is actually a little bit of seaweed washing up. Damn, I was hoping it was going to be a seal or a little pod of dolphins, or maybe not dolphins, but... So we've got some paddleboarders out, some surfers out down at the bluff. We might head this way. I'll let you know what the temperature's like in the water. It's not going to be warm because we haven't had a lot of sunny days in a row. We've had these sort of bursts of 1 or 2 really warm days, and then weeks of just cold, windy, white caps. But it feels nice in an Australian summer to be walking on the beach in bare feet, bare legs, bare arms, and some warmth in the sun. It's been a long time coming. So CCC, you think it's a giant mind game? And that's the thing too, like there's so many other perspectives too, like, is it a mind game? Is this all contrived? I don't think all of it is. I think there's been some shady shit going on. Is it just YouTube is an opportunistic platform that predators can, you know, go on and attract followers who then blindly follow them? Because that's another aspect of it that confuses me a lot, is how few people question much on YouTube. If you've got a particular person you follow, and you're in chat, you would notice that, you know, the majority of the subs are 100% behind them. Hi Renee, how are you, gorgeous? Yeah, there's sort of a lot of blind loyalty, I guess, and whatever they say or do is gospel, which I find very strange. But there is not one person on YouTube that I watch that I think is 100% awesome and 100% right all the time. Kylie, as a sub, it makes me feel like not getting involved and not trusting anyone. Yeah, well, I think trust no one is the way we should all look at this. I mean, that's one thing, I think. Just got someone walking towards me. I'm just going to... Hey, puppy. Morning. Hello. Yeah, I think trust no one is definitely the smart way to approach anything on YouTube. Which is, you know, it's sad, but it's also just a reality now. And it's not just YouTube. I think it's probably a good mantra for life generally. You remember that with the X-Files? I used to have trust no one. That was my password on my computer for years. It's not anymore. I didn't just dox myself with a password. But, yeah, it's sad. But I think that's a sad sign of the times. You know, I think if we were all hanging out on Twitter or Facebook or you remember old Messenger chat? Not the current one, the MSN, 9MSN Messenger used to have group chats in there. But, you know, whatever platform it is, I think people are in the same boat. And also in the real world. It sucks you've got to be a little bit cynical in the way you look at life and people, but there is a lot of trust put in creators very quickly. I've done it myself. You know, and you're super chatting people and handing cash over, and it's quite rapid, the attachment to people on YouTube. And I think it's because people are live, because that part of it's what captivated me. I couldn't believe it when I discovered the live side of YouTube. I have to keep spinning around. I hope I don't make anyone feel sick. To read the screen. I'll just check I've got my screen switched up to full bore to brightness, I mean. Huh. It's not even popping up as an option at the moment. Oh shit. Oh shit, what have I done? Screen. Sorry about that. I think I just kicked myself out. Switched up to full bore to brightness, I mean. I am well, thank you, Mojo. It's not even popping up as Kylie, who knew a year ago it would be like this? I agree. I think we all went in with oh shit, what have I done? You know, with excitement. We discovered this fantastic platform and people are going. Sorry about that. I think I just check I've got my screen switched up to full bore to. I think something's playing in the background. Brightness, I mean. Hang on. I am well, thank you, Mojo. It's not even popping up as Kylie, who knew a year ago. Have I got two lives going? I agree. I think we all went. Oh shit, what have I done? I've opened up my YouTube. I can't find my Streamlabs. Oh, hang on. Just echoing. Yeah, I had two windows open. I told you, I can't see nothing. Oh, so you've got pebble beaches. We have pebble beaches here too, Mojo. More in the sort of tropical side of it. Hopefully that echo's gone. I don't know what I did, but I tried to brighten up my screen so I could read your comments. Yeah, it was my live. Is it better? Cool, let's go. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll attract many people into my, if I do a live about it, but I thought it would be cool just to have a bit of a chat, put my feelers out and see how people are feeling, because I think people are all feeling differently, and it all depends on, like we were saying earlier, you know, if you're actually in the spotlight, if it's a person that you thought you were genuine friends with, or even if you're just a sub who's not really invested in anyone in particular, but you're just watching all of this unravel. Hey, look at this seaweed. Anyone else here a seaweed fan? I love it. So this is kelp. Quite a few restaurants are doing really cool stuff with kelp. It's delicious. I haven't cooked with it, but every time I come down here, if I see it, and this is like, these are really beautiful, healthy looking piles of kelp. There's lots of shells and all kinds of things caught up in it. But I'm really keen to Google kelp and see if I can do some funky stuff with it. I'm going to start cooking again. I do cook already, but I'm going to start filming it because I'm making some pretty quirky shit at the moment. And I've got a couple of how-to videos to do. I've got a bowl of fresh macadamias at home and I want to show everyone how to open them, because it's not hard if you know the trick. But if you don't know the trick, there's a lot of hammering and a lot of hammering your thumb and macadamia's nuts flying and... Hi Bergstrong, isn't it stunning? Isn't it stunning? It's not a bad front yard. Wonderful scenery, says Mojo. And the water's cold. The water is cold. Okay, wasn't surprised by that, but wasn't expecting it to be that brisk. It's really gorgeous though, because this beach is very shallow. Oh, there's some people coming up behind me. I'll probably let them pass. Yeah, it's a really shallow beach, so actually I'll keep walking. I'm not ready to turn around yet. I am on this walk too to, you know, shed some kilos. But it's a shallow beach, so when it gets to summer, proper summer, yes, it is December and it should be proper summer already, but it's not. The water temperature gets up to about 24 degrees Celsius, which is really nice. But at the moment, it's probably about 12 degrees. But yeah, being a shallow beach, the water temp does get warm very quickly. But also being a shallow beach, it's, oh my God, they just went right up my bare leg, up to my clacker. That was a bit of a surprise. Salt water up my Fanula region. But being a shallow beach too, even though it's a surf beach, although there's not a lot of swell today, but it's pretty safe. Like you have to go a long way out before the water is really even over your head. And that's why this beach is where all the little nippers come and learn how to do surf lifesaving. All the surf schools are down here, paddleboard schools, kite surfing, all of it, because there's a safety aspect to it. Mind you, up where we're heading, Carlton River, that's a tidal river, and they're very dangerous. Don't ever swim in a tidal river unless you know how to read the tide. It's also a baby shark sanctuary up there, so people generally don't swim in it. Not nasty sharks, little gummies. They can't do much. I mean, they can latch onto you, but they don't eat you. Shallow bitch. Oh, my fra. Oh my gosh. Did you hear the news, old my fra? Good to see you. Good to see you before you get locked up and the key thrown away. Did you hear the news yesterday? So excited that you're here. Bazza and Shazza, let's look for them, Kylie. Yeah, Tanny, I hope you do learn how to cook. If I put some cooking stuff up, I'm going to do all kinds of things. I'm going to do basic things. I'm going to pull out some retro cookbooks and make some really shocking looking things. I've got my great-grandmother's, grandmother's and mother's cookbooks. So I'm going to make some stuff from there. But I'm also going to do basic things like, you know, how to poach an egg, how to get the perfect soft-boiled egg, hard-boiled egg, like basic things. But also some really whack stuff. I've got a huge collection of 70s cookbooks, and the way they used to plate up their stuff, assemble it, very ugly. I'm really looking forward to making some shocking things. And I'm starting a new tradition. Any invitation I get to go to friends' places, we often always rock up with something. But I'm going to start making some of these really hideous salads and decorative platters and see how they go down. I'm going to use quality ingredients. Like, I think the taste will be fine. I'm just going to assemble them like they were done in the 70s. Pretty unattractive. Now, Bazza and Shazza. Do you know what? I can't see for the life of me any seagulls yet. So we'll keep out a keen eye, Kylie. CCC's got your CBD. Awesome. I am very lucky, Kylie. I say that to my friends actually when they're down here. I'm like, I'm so lucky. And they're like, you're not lucky. You deserve this. You worked your butt off and saved up to build a house. But it is pretty beautiful. Although, I mean, no, don't say although. I think this is, well, I'm very biased. This is my favourite beach in Tassie. But there are some absolutely incredible beaches. Like Wineglass Bay, which you can only get to by foot or boat. But you can't live at Wineglass Bay. And there's some beautiful islands that have got, like smaller islands in Tassie, that have got breathtaking beaches too. There's some gorgeous beaches on Bruny Island. Mariah Island has Chinaman's Bay, which is stunning. So yeah, there's a lot of really pretty beaches. Down Eaglehawk Neck, which is sort of further south of where we are right now. So I live at the top of a neck, which means we've got coastline on both sides. And there's a lot of really gorgeous beaches the whole way down. But this one is a fave. The fave. And it's not just the beach, like the community down here is gorgeous. I've got friends that have moved down here. I've made beautiful friends down here. Yeah, old Ma's been charged with tampering with a witness or witnesses. Obviously, old Ma Fra has always been under investigation for her part. Pleading the fifth didn't help her any. But has she been officially charged? Not just speculation. Oh, I don't know, Tanny. I wasn't trying to say something that's not correct. I just saw a headline that she'd been charged. So, I'm one of those, oh, there's a headline, I won't read the story. But it wasn't a story, it was a YouTube video, and I just didn't want to watch it. I didn't have time. I was cooking dinner or doing something. Oh, I know what I was doing. I was downloading. I've got a really shitty old tablet. I downloaded some cat apps for Biscuit to keep her entertained. But she's so smart that I put this app on and she thought the bugs, they were ladybirds. She thought they were going under the tablet. And she flipped it over and couldn't see them, so she got bored. And then I put the laser pointer version on and she didn't like the buzzing noise. And then I put the flies on and she went out to her cat shack and proceeded to ignore me. So I thought it'd be fun, but she's too savvy, too smart. Mojo. My mum's got tons of 70s cookbooks. Yeah, Tupperware parties, I got dragged along to a few of those too. But you know what? I've been to a lot of modern, like contemporary Tupperware parties, and I don't like the new stuff. The 70s Tupperware is so groovy. Morning. Got your hands full there. I've got some of my mum's and my grandma's Tupperware, the older stuff, and the colours are superb. They're all these sort of pastel-y colours from the 60s and 70s. The contemporary ones, yeah, I don't know, I held a party, and because I had a lot of Tupperware fans at it, I got so much shit. I've just taken 2 bags of it to the salvos because it was just taking up precious cupboard space, and I'm minimalising. But I kept all the older stuff because I just think it's better quality, it's better colours. It's probably more toxic plastic, I don't know, but I don't care. I love it. Although I've got a Tupperware, it's only a little rubber square that you use to open jars because I'm getting a bit arthritic in my hands. And some days I'll just pop a lid off without any hassle at all, and other days it's like, are you kidding me? And I do all the, tap it with a knife, run it under hot water. And I've got this little square that just grips the lid, and it's falling apart. It's perishing. And I have to find a replacement for it, because if I don't, I ain't going to be opening no jars for a while. Kylie's cooking eggs for breakfast. When I get back to the house, I'm actually making I was going to make a cinnamon and banana porridge, but because it's such a warm day, I'm rethinking it. I might just do a breakfast smoothie bowl, actually. Or possibly a googie egg. Berg, he really is pathetic. Oh, we're on to Oni. Worst of all, took advantage of a woman whose daughter is missing. Wow, really low. Yeah, it's... you couldn't write this shit, right? I mean, I loved Oni. I thought Oni was the biggest personality on YouTube. Like, he was so funny and likeable. It's quite mind-blowing listening to everything that's coming out. But I kind of can't help but feel that there'll be another scandal next. Do you know what I mean? Like, to me, YouTube is sort of like a soap opera. And I wish I wasn't fascinated by it. And I am delighted that there are people like Wendy V who are putting out sort of abridged versions of what's been going on. And you can certainly pick up a lot of what's going on in chats. But yeah, there's certainly some pretty shady, horrible stuff, or illegal stuff happening. But does anyone else feel like there's going to be another villain in a couple of months' time, or, you know, even a couple of weeks' time? Because it's kind of... there's kind of a cycle. And it, you know, if someone was actually sitting down to write a new TV show, they should just write what goes on YouTube, because it's out of control. Yeah, how are you doing your eggs? I'm with Jojo. Fried baby spinach and tomatoes from the garden. Yum! There is nothing better than food from your own garden. Mojo, I've seen some of Tanny's cooking. I can back you up, man. Tanny's really good at burning and melting things. See you in a tick, old ma. Speculation. Yeah, possibly Tanny. Like I said, I don't know. I'm not you should know me by now. I'm not a fucking YouTube 24/7 sleuth. I'm not onto stuff. But I'm pretty sure there was a what's the word? No, I'm not even going to go down there. But yeah, I'm not 24/7. I don't know. And I'm not gullible either. But I mean, it's no surprise if she is going to be charged with something. I mean, wasn't Kelsey Barrett's body burnt at her property for starters? Like, I don't think it's, you know, something out of the blue that everyone's like, oh my God, how did that happen? She was dodgy from the start. How is my fatty fat hat cat? Welcome back, old ma. I'm a bit behind in chat, I think, because I try to walk and get a bit of, you know, exercise. I can't, if I stop and read, I don't get the exercise bit. So I sort of stop and have a bit of a flick. Biscuit is the boss of the house. She is hilarious. I'm glad I got her. She's a great distraction. She's brilliant. I think anyone who feels like they're stuck to a screen for too often, because my job, you know, admin days, you're on the computer all day, but getting down on the floor and playing with Biscuit, she's got toys that she loves, and especially those sort of fishing wand toys with things on the end. But I just love that downtime and just it's not the silence, because she makes a bit of noise, but it's just so therapeutic. So yeah, she's awesome. I thoroughly recommend, if anyone is thinking about adopting a dog or a cat, go for the elderly ones. I mean, Biscuit's only just turned 9, so she's not old, but I mean, it's interesting because on the one hand, the positives are things like she's already house trained, she's already kind of used to a bit of a routine. She's not tearing up the house at 3 in the morning and waking me up because she can't be bothered, kind of thing. So there's that side of it. But on the negative side, she's very set in her ways. And she's also been spoilt rotten, not just by me, but by people in the past, because she was the office cat at the rescue place for nearly a year and got a lot of attention. And she's a bit of a diva. But the other thing too is she knew to wake me up. She'd flick my mobile phone off my bedside table, so I now put that in a drawer. So I was like, haha, foiled. You can't wake me up by flicking my phone onto the floor. And now she bites me to wake me up. So the phone's going back on the bedside table. I can replace the phone. Waking up to a bite. Thankfully it's my hands, not my toes or my face, but still. So that's how the fatty fat hat cat is. Tupperware parties, yummy sandwiches and cheese and onion crisps. Yeah, the yummy I love my favourites, chicken sandwiches. Even, I mean, this is weird, but even at the funeral the other day, for my beautiful friend Lou, there's nothing better than a chicken sandwich after a funeral, and they're at every wake. At least in Australia, people always have chicken sandwiches, and they just, I don't know, it's just like soul food. Reminds you of your granny or your mum. And yeah, we all sort of hoed into the obligatory chicken sandwiches, and they made us feel better. A bit like chicken soup, you know, that whole chicken soup for the soul. I think chicken sandwiches have the same impact, especially at Lou's funeral, because she was such a foodie that all the food catering was out of control. She threw a very good wake for herself. High-end chicken sandwiches. But I mean, I'm also quite happy with your little, you know, corner bakery chicken sandwich too. As long as the bread is fresh. But yeah, I don't know, there's something comforting about it. It's really weird. My mum's birthday was 2 days ago, the 7th. And she would have been 80 if she was still with us. She died not long after she turned 60. So we've got her 20-year anniversary coming up, which is incredible. Like, I just don't know where those 20 years have gone. But it's also made me reflect on, as usual, as you do when you lose a parent or a friend, you know, just all the things they've missed out on. And there's a shitload of things she's missed out on in 20 years. But the weird thing is, you know, realising she would have been 80 this week. I can't even imagine her old. She wasn't. She'd only just turned 60. You know, and I'm about to turn 53, so 59, 60 is not that far away. But she didn't look old. So I didn't get to see my mum turn into a typical old lady. She was still young and beautiful, and yeah, it's so weird trying to imagine what she would be like at 80. Although look at her brother and sister, and they've got very good genes, that family, and my uncle is incredibly good looking and doesn't look anywhere near his age, and he's only a couple of years younger than Mum. And then Annabelle's how old is she? I think she's about 14 years younger than my mum, maybe. I think she's like mid-60s. But also, you know, incredibly beautiful skin, and looks a lot younger. So I think even if my mum had have made it to 80, she would have been a pretty hot 80-year-old, pretty good looking. They had beautiful genes, the St Hill family, and yeah, but it's just an interesting thing. But you know, the chicken sandwich thing, my mum made wicked chicken sandwiches too. I think that's why they're good comfort food at funerals. That was a long-winded story. Oh, you guys are chatting old Ma. There will be more villains. I think so. Old Ma's predicting a domino effect. Only desperately needs help. I agree, CCC. And I think that that's really the priority here. Morning. I think that's the priority here because my friend Laura just sent me a happy birthday message from my mum for the other day. She's a good egg, that Lorza. Yeah, I think Oni desperately needs help too. And I think at some point the amount of stuff that's been said about him, that's got to die down a little bit because, well, I'm hoping it does. I think it's important that stuff comes out and people are aware, but at some point enough's enough. But then I guess as people are talking, more information's coming out in different stories. Oh, there's a seagull up ahead. I think I can see Bazza. So I don't know, but I mean, as personally as a sub, I don't want to watch 50,000 different lives and different people all just rehashing the same stuff. And again, that's why I like the Wendy V type channels that do little vignettes, I guess. You can find out what's going on pretty quickly watching that, because it's just she just plays aspects of like portions of lives. Bazza, where the fuck is Shazza? I'll zoom in. There he is. He's having an early morning shower, bath, washing his lady, getting ready for some action with Shazza. That's a good point, Kylie. I'm wondering if this is just how YouTube is all the time. I think it is because, and I don't just think it's YouTube. I think it's Periscope. I think it's D-Live. I think it's Twitch. Is it the Twitter one? Probably. I didn't go from Facebook to YouTube. I went from Facebook to Podbean to YouTube. And that's Oni's, my first encounter with Oni was on Podbean, on a podcast. It wasn't on the YouTubes. But yeah, I think if there's information, it's got to come out, but I ain't got no time to watch hours and hours and hours of stuff. And I think a lot of the stuff is just, failed friendship stuff, some of it. I don't know, it just, I don't want to watch hours of it, it's depressing. But I'm still in shock as well. I think most of us are. And at the end of the day, CCC, I agree with you. I think he needs help, and that's the priority. And we're talking long-term help here. But if this is YouTube, Kylie, imagine if you were in a true crime community and you're also in I'm trying to think of something, an invention community and a knitting community and a cat community and a live music community, and this shit's happening in all of them. That's more than a full-time job, keeping up with all of it. I guess in one respect, the beauty of lots of different creators doing shit on it is you can just watch the creator that you like, I suppose. I don't know. But when does outing someone for all the shady shit they've done cross over to online bullying? And does YouTube even give a fuck about it? I found 3 courses I want to do next year back at uni, postgraduate degrees, on the impact of social media on criminal and civil trials type area, but with focus on niche subjects like cyberbullying and cybercrime. And I hope to learn more, but what I've learned so far is that the legislation is so strict. And I just don't know how YouTube can be like so blasé about it all. I know there's new terms and conditions coming in and I've got to get up to speed on them, but it just seems like, and I'm not talking about Oni in particular, like if there's somebody else who's been outed for shitty stuff, I hope you know what I'm saying. Like suddenly there's a lot of people on the train. Like I'm interested in hearing from the people that were directly affected. I don't care about the opinions of people that haven't even watched Oni live once. Don't have an opinion on it. Don't hate olives unless you've eaten one, is my view. But if this is just YouTube, holy shit. And I do feel like there is a point where it has to cross over to cyberbullying. Mojo's on Santa's naughty list. I'm always on Santa's naughty list. Why would you want to be on the good list? Mojo and Tanny, disaster twins. That's probably right, actually. Right, CC says dog shitty because the bath made her itchy. Poor Maddie. Tanny loves Biscuit. She does have a great sense of humour. Laura, hello. Biscuit is a biter. Yeah, Laura can attest to that. Thanks for your little message about my mama. I'm so behind. Hang on, let's catch up in chat. Biscuit would get on real well with Omar Fra's adopted cat Oscar. Very demanding and destructive. Oh, so you've got a 20-year this August with your mum as well. She was 68. Yeah, too young. Why do we lose our mum so young? My mum's 20th anniversary is in February. Oh, your Irish nanny. I've got a friend who's got an Irish grandmother and they call her the Irish Mafia. She's hilarious. Kylie's never heard of Podbean. No, Podbean's like a podcasting platform. So like I'm on Acast, which was formerly Pippa, but Podbean's another platform. And the beauty of Podbean was they would go live and you'd have panelists and I mean it was like YouTube, and that's where I first encountered Oni. CCC, my heart hurts for Oni as a human, but I can't overlook what has happened. Yep, I agree. You've summed it up. And I guess that's why I was keen to hear Sub's views on this, because I think there's a bit of heartbreak. It's not like when you are watching a soap opera like on TV and you might be invested in the storyline, but you don't know the characters. But because YouTube is people out there being themselves, you do develop feelings and affection for people. And, I mean, you look at it, we all did this, not we all, but some of us were all in that happy birthday video for only a couple of months ago because we adored him. And the messages on there are amazing. And, you hear like Kim Lowry when she spoke about it and, she sort of said she fell in love with Oni because of his personality and his sense of humour. So you do. And then there's also the people that are now impacted by it and affected by his actions, that you have feelings for as well, and how horrible it must be for them. Like Jay, for example, to be, for him to have used her name. So, I mean, I guess that's what I want to talk about is, if I do a live on it is, other than this little stroll, but how do we reconcile all of this? Is it, if people are absolutely broken by this that aren't directly involved, is that a sign for them to just take a step back and switch off a bit more and adopt a fat cat and spend time with her instead? is that the reality check we're all getting from this? Or if people are just like completely gripped in the drama and just watching it as a spectacle, that's cool too. I mean, if there are people that are just watching it like Days of Our Lives, well, I never really found that a gripping one. I was a bit of a Bold and the Beautiful girl at uni. But you know what I mean? There's probably subs who are just looking at this as a form of entertainment without any emotional connections. But the other thing is that they all sort of, it's like there's a "you'll be the villain this week" banner. I mean, this is a baton, like, you know, if you're in a relay. I mean, this has to have been the worst that I've experienced, I think, in terms of outing someone for their really shitty behaviour. But it also feels like, yeah, it's a bit like a relay with a baton and a baton with villain written on it. And if you happen to have that handed to you, you've got to run with it and be the villain. I think it's a blessing too, old Mafra. I've had quite a few sort of YouTube siestas, I suppose I'd call it. My little podcast has been a really good distraction, although I'm working so hard on telling stories rather than sounding like I'm reading them, and it's been doing my head in. So I'm trying a new technique. For those of you who follow my little podcast, I'm trying a new technique this week to try and be more of a storyteller rather than sounding like I'm reading a script, because I did write scripts at the start and realistically should have memorized them and then tried to record in one hit and leave all my little fuck ups and stuff in. Then I bullet pointed and I expand on the bullet points and it still sounds like I'm reading a script. So I'm going to try a new style, which is going to be hard, but I'm basically going to read each little story over and over a few times and then record it just from memory. Just talk about it from memory, because I really want it more to be more storytelling. And even when I know I haven't been sitting there reading a script, when I listen back to it, I'm like, that just sounds like you're reading a script, motherfucker. But yeah, I get having the break, Elmar, it is good for you. The new terms come out on the 10th of December. Yeah, it's something like that, Tanny. I really should watch a video. If anyone can recommend the right person to watch who goes through the new terms, and I don't want it to be a 2-hour live. I ain't got time for that shit. I definitely ain't got time for a 7-hour live on YouTube's terms and conditions. I know I've got some emails about it, but I'm trying not to sit at my computer. I love listening to YouTube like radio, but I don't want to be sitting at my computer all day. So yeah, if anyone has got a anyone can recommend a live that somebody's done that just goes through the new terms and conditions in really simple, straightforward and not 2 hours, let me know. Kylie hangs out in spiritual channels, meditation, yoga, astrology. There's never any drama. But see, that I've heard there's drama in the crochet community. I've heard there's drama in, you know, I mean, I bet you there is a yoga channel somewhere where there's drama. Or maybe not, because the whole principle of yoga is non-violent thinking. But you know what I mean? Like, I think even if you go into something you think would be quite low-key, there's a possibility that the same sort of shit's going on. Move my ass well behind in chat. Okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to keep going. I enjoy a good shit show, says CCC, but this is going too far. I agree. Then that's the point. That's the point. It's at some point it crosses over, right? I'm up to speed. Yeah, condolences to everyone. I mean, look, we all lose people. That's part of life. I'm not brushing any of you off. I'm just saying. And yeah, I'm sorry to hear all the little stories in chat. But it is one of those things, right? We're all going to die. It's a shit to lose good people. And I find in my life it's the best people are the ones that are all checking out way too soon. And then the dirty, rotten scoundrels are going to live to be 120, you know what I mean? You've still got both of your parents, Mojo. You're lucky. Both of mine are gone. Which is kind of weird. I don't feel that it... I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got some friends who are orphans as well, who are younger than me. But at 52, it doesn't feel right to not have a parent. It's too young. Like, my parents had the potential to become great-grandparents, and I would have loved that. My mum only met 2 of her grandchildren. One of them was, like, had just turned 1 right before she died, and there's 3 grandchildren she never met. And then there's 5 step-grandchildren that she never met, and their partners, and then they've had, between them, there's 4 great step-grandchildren that she could have, they were ripped off. But one of my best friends this year, she lost her parents within a week of each other, which was really sad. And she's a bit like a year younger than me. She's my beautiful friend I stay with up in Byron Bay. And that was awful. It wasn't expected. The second one. Horrible. We're the same age, Tori. It is sad the good die young. It's said the good die young. Yep, even Billy Joel sang about it. Not that I'm a Billy Joel fan, I just know his songs. I'm good with music trivia. Let's get off death. The last time I did a live, I was going to go up to the end, but there's a girl who's starting to do some stretches and stuff. But we've walked the length. Mojo's 48 in March. Enjoy it. Enjoy your 40s. Not that 50s suck, but I've never given a flying fuck about people's ages. Like, to me, age is just a number. I'm a bit one of those sort of cliche wankers. I've always said age is only relevant if you're wine, scotch or cheese. But when you turn 50, and I've spoken to so many people who've turned 50, and I'm talking anyone over 50, from 50 in 1 minute to 85 to 72 and everything in between. There is something about turning 50. It's like a light switch goes on. There's a massive shift in thinking again, a bit like when you turn 40 and 30 and 28. They're all ages, I think, where you have a bit of a massive shift in thinking. You completely run out of fucks to give except for things that matter to you a lot. And your body just goes, okay, brace yourselves. Every time you wake up, something really weird's going to be going on with your body. And some things will hang around for weeks, months. Other things will happen in like a minute and then disappear. Morning. But the consistent thing is that, yes, you discover bits of your body you didn't even know you had, and feelings and sensations and all kinds of random shit. It's really weird, and there's a consistent feeling from anyone who's turned 50 that particular number does actually have some relevance. So don't think I'm being a whinger. I'm not. I'm really loving that I'm in my 50s and that I've still got pretty good health, and there's things that I love that give me a lot of joy and all that sort of stuff. It's not a bitch. I'm proud to have made it to 52, nearly 53. A lot of people don't, but there is something about turning 50. Things do change significantly. Yeah, life is different, old Mafra, when you don't have your parents. I mean, my uncle, my mum's brother, he said to me at my dad's funeral, after it, he said, your life is going to be very different now. And it is. And it's not all bad. It's actually... It's actually, I don't know about your parents, Omar and other people's stories in chat, but I had 2 terminally ill parents for half of my life. Like, my parents were both diagnosed in the same week. My mum died 10 years after that diagnosis, and my dad lasted another 13. So for 23 years of my life, I had 1 or 2... Well, for 23 years of my life, I had a terminally ill dad. And for 10 of those 23, I had a terminally ill mum. And when Dad died, my uncle said, your life is going to be very different now because you don't have to constantly make decisions based on your mum and dad. And it was so true. And he said, you know, you will have a freedom now that it's a shit you lost your parents to get it. But I don't know if people will understand or not, but when you have got sick parents for such a long time, every decision you make, you have to factor them in. And I'm not saying this in a selfish way, I'm saying in a realistic way. Like, if I wanted to go on a holiday, I had to consider my parents' health, if they were going to die while I was away, how I would get home quickly if they died, or even if I was going to go at all. I hope some of you know what I'm saying. Even down to simple things like when you're caring for sick parents, you know, you have to make a decision about when you're going to, what time you've got to finish work to go in to take them in dinner, if you're going to cook dinner for them, or what time you're having your own dinner, what time you've got to factor in what time you're going to get home. Like, every decision, I'm not trying to, again, be a whinger, I'm just trying to illustrate a point that every decision you make, somehow your parents are part of that. Which is really lovely, but it's also really liberating after 23 years of finally being able to make a decision without having to factor that in. Like, to make a decision what's best for you and your life. Because you do make a lot of sacrifices, and I wouldn't change any of it. I wouldn't change a thing that I've done. But I also lost track of the fact that I mattered to me as well. And I spent half of my life not putting myself first, ever. And I'm not saying I had to put myself first all the time, but I should have put myself first some of it. And you just don't. So I hope people understand what I'm saying, and that they don't think I'm being critical of my parents. Like I said, I wouldn't change a thing. I would do it exactly the same. In fact, I probably would have done even more if I could have. I mean, I'm looking back now thinking, remembering how exhausting it was, and I really probably couldn't have done much more. But yeah, it's not all bad. I mean, obviously, yes, you miss them, and you miss out on their advice and their wisdom, and they miss out on experiencing so many wonderful things that life throws into that pool that they were part of. But there is a weird freedom that comes when they're gone as well. And I like being there for my friends as they're losing their parents. I like being able to hold their hands, because I was young when my mum died and I didn't know anyone who'd lost a parent. So, you know, I've kind of put my experience to good use in that respect. But we are all going to cark it eventually, so I'm probably becoming way more pragmatic about death, and not cynical, or blasé, but a bit more pragmatic. I'd rather be there for the people that are experiencing the death of someone close to them for the first time than fall into a heap myself. And I'm not saying I don't get to grieve as well, I do, and I get to grieve while I'm holding people's hands, but let's get off death. We're already back at the surf club and I'm doing a monologue about death. Oh, I don't even know if I'm live now. Where's the chitter chatter? Kylie, way across the line, what he was doing is criminal. Being an asshole is one thing. Stealing and calling... Oh, I know. I mean, it was next level. It's next level shit, right? And it's not good. Not good at all. It's horrible. It's horrible. And I fully understand why people who were directly affected are in this state of sort of confusion. But I mean, I can't go from caring about someone to hating. I don't hate anyone. I can hate what people do though. I've only started using hate this year. YouTube's made me start using the word hate, which really worries me. But I can't leap from caring about someone to thinking that they are repugnant in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe I'm naive. I know I am in a lot of respects, but I acted for some pretty shifty people when I was a criminal lawyer. And, I mean, I'm talking murderers, and I don't think I actually acted for a convicted rapist. I think I acted for men that were falsely accused of rape. But I acted for some pretty shifty people. But I could still find the goodness in them. Like, I don't think anyone is 100% rotten to the core. Well, now that I've said that, yeah, okay, there probably are a few, like Charles Manson springs to mind, but fucking Chris Watts is another one. But no, I shouldn't say that. There were people in Chris Watts. Okay, here we are again, using Chris Watts as an example. I think he's a disgusting, despicable human being. I think he's not wired correctly, and he's missing genes that make people... Well, he's just missing, not necessarily genes, but part of him is missing that just makes him a decent human being. But the people in his life loved him. You know, and we can't forget his mother's ridiculous victim impact statement in court when he was sentenced. We love you, we forgive you. But you know what I mean? Like, I can't suddenly decide that someone that I gave a shit about a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, or 3 months ago, or even 3 years ago, who suddenly I learned something about and go, whoa, but I can't instantly write them off as being 100% rotten to the core. And maybe that's just me, I don't know. But yeah, some pretty full-on stuff's coming out. But I don't know about you guys. I'm also a bit of a... don't really care about the gossip stuff. I care about the factual stuff. The stuff that there's proof of, that we know happened. That stuff. But the gossipy stuff, everyone's got shitty stories about their friends that they can start telling. I'm not saying that they're not true, but until there's proof of it, I don't really care about the gossipy character assassination stuff. The factual stuff, though, is pretty disturbing. And again, I think it's pretty indicative he's got some serious problems and he needs serious help. Oh. Now I've put my keyboard on the screen. Oh, my fra, you've also learned the hard way. Sometimes we have to be selfish. And well, okay, I'm going to correct you on that, old ma fra. It's not selfish to put yourself first. Unfortunately, we're the generation where we were taught it was. That's the problem. I mean, I've got a quote on my fridge that... because I'm trying to do this health and wellness reset thing at the moment, and I found a quote that I put on my fridge, and it said she made herself a priority. And I stuck it on my fridge because I actually have to remind myself of that. Like, there's a generation of kids below us who have made themselves the sole priority from the day they were born because their parents told them they could do anything they want, they can be anything they want, they're beautiful, they're amazing. But our generation, no, we were, you know, if you talked about yourself for 2 minutes at the dinner table, it's not all about you. Stop talking about yourself. You're so vain. You're full of yourself. That's the generation we're from. But anyway, so I've got, you know, she made herself a priority stuck on the fridge. And then a few weeks ago, I walked past and I crossed out the A and changed it to the. And I don't want to be a millennial asshole, but I realised that I have to make myself the priority at the moment because I've got health issues and I've got to get better. So, yeah. So it's not selfish, old ma. It's actually normal. As human beings, we should have all put ourselves first. Not all the time. I mean, I've changed it to the priority on the fridge because at the moment I do have to be the priority. Because I'm of no value to people until I'm better. Well, I'm not of no value. But I want to be able to be of greater value to the people in my life. And to do that, I've got to get better. So at the moment, I am the priority. Which is why things like pulling away from YouTube and trying to get the gist of what's going on without sitting at my computer for 7 hours watching lives, that sort of shit. It's very easy to spend an entire weekend watching YouTube sitting at your computer. I've done it. I've been there. Back when I was a mod for more than one channel, you get very caught up in it, but it doesn't fit in with the rest of your life. The weekends are downtime and relaxing and catching up with friends and family, and if you've got time for a bit of YouTube, bring it on. But you know, I'd spend hours. My bum's actually hurting remembering that, because I don't have a comfortable chair. I mean, it's a comfortable chair, but it's not an office chair, if you know what I mean. You're still live. You're still... Oh, because I wondered if I wasn't like... Thank you. Yeah, good. That's great advice, old woman. Hello, old woman. I don't know who's here and who's not now. Yeah, definitely get a fan. Holy shit. I'm waking up every morning at exactly the same time, boiling like a lobster. Every morning, same time. Thanks, Tanny. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, but thank you. Yeah, actually, I hate cancer too. And sorry, Kylie, I did see further up you mentioned your mum, bowel cancer. That's really sad as well. I'm a bit of a fuck cancer person. Like, I like hashtagging fuck cancer. Even one of my girlfriends who's got cancer at the moment, whenever we chat, there's always a lot of hashtag fuck cancer going backwards and forwards. Kate does take it. Oh my God, I put that in chat. Jesus Christ. That little FT. No idea if that was me walking and talking. Did anyone hear that Twat's parents made a public statement reaching out to the rechecks yesterday? No, I didn't, old ma. I don't know. The rechecks are really good people, and they'll probably be very forgiving, whereas I'd kind of be like, go fuck yourself. It's been over a year. Fuck off. I mean, well, no. I can say that as I boldly walk along the beach, but truth be told, I'd probably be like, oh, that's lovely of you to reach out. Let's all be friends again. Because I'm a dick like that. I'm so soft. The stuff that's happening on YouTube, I don't think I'm ever going to take the villain baton, because I'm certainly not in that relay with all the big creators. But I'd be out of YouTube in a heartbeat, because it would absolutely crush me to the core. It already has in some respects. I mean, I kind of I did end up being painted as a villain because I was collateral damage in a pretty messy little scenario. I have experienced firsthand what it's like to be in the spotlight on YouTube for all the wrong reasons, but very minor compared to any of this stuff. I mean, that whole thing that we went through was pretty unpleasant. But yeah, if I was handed the baton in the relay, I'd drop it and switch off YouTube for life, you know, like... Yeah, I don't have I've got a thick skin. I can handle constructive criticism about something that I do. If someone put a comment under my podcast and said, you sound like you're reading a script, I'd be like, yeah, no, I do. Thanks for that, because I'm really working on making it not sound like that. But if it was hundreds of videos popping up on all these channels, especially the thing that shits me, I think, is the people that have actually gone on lives and been on panels saying, oh, I never watched anything of Oni's. What the fuck are you doing on there then? Like, how come you're suddenly... I'm not necessarily saying an authority, but if people are going to go live and talk about Oni, I want it to be the people that were directly affected. Whether I like them or their channel or not is irrelevant. Like, I want to know the factual stuff. I don't want to hear people who openly admit they've never watched an Oni live or anything Oni's ever done, taking up hours of lives, spouting off their point of view. What are they doing? Why are they? It happens every time. Have you noticed that? Like, some of the little villains in YouTube chat have basically made names for themselves by commenting on stuff they're not directly involved in. It's kind of become their shtick. You know, and again, there's what is it with YouTube that only like 1% of people seem to question anything on there? Questioning's good. Even if questioning something, you find out you've got something wrong, or you learn something you didn't know, like questioning stuff is smart. But that's the other thing. I'm not talking about the only stuff in particular. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that, like I said, there's a few stories about him and shit, which I'm kind of like, whatever. But the factual stuff, it's out there and it's been proven, right? I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about the people that are just going into whoever's chat that they love, listening to what the creator has to say about it and just blindly following that. Question stuff a little bit. Broaden your knowledge. Make other people think. It's one thing about YouTube I don't understand is how few people question shit. Is that how the world's really become? Are people so... Like, say, okay, let's talk about a Prime Minister. I can honestly tell you that I do not have a single human being in my life who believes anything that comes out of our current Prime Minister's mouth, let alone, oh, I mean, there may be a couple, but I don't know who they are off the top of my head, but they don't 100% believe everything that Prime Minister's saying. Or go to America, go to Trump. The Trump supporters. Are they all 100% behind everything he says and does? Or do they question some of it? Or do they disagree with some of it? Or are they just 100% convinced he's the bomb and that's it? You know what I'm saying? We all need to learn how to put ourselves first, Tanny. I'm only learning it now. And I'm not putting myself first all the time, just some of the time. Yeah, beachcombing is lovely on this beach too. So some really gorgeous shells. It's actually, I mean, it's quite busy because it's beautiful. Like, when I say busy, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13. I can see about 15 people the full length of this beach. But for this hour of the morning, it is quite a lot of people because it's there were more people down here earlier. This is the second time I've come down. Couple of minutes behind old woman. Yeah, I'm going to fast forward. Mojo's back. You've washed your lady. That's lovely. Oh, she's off again. I think I'm up to speed now. Kylie's comment's the last one. Oh, the cop call. I know. But that's what I mean. Like, when you get proof like that, you're like, okay, there it is. Tick that off the list. There's no question marks. It was brilliant to get proof and to hear it and go, okay, we'll take that on. I mean, the big issue I've got with that phone call is only denying aspects of it. And that's where I think he's got some serious issues, and that's sad to me. But I also kind of blows me away at how so many people got him completely wrong. And I can't think anyone is 100% evil. There is a part of me that feels empathy, or not empathy. I feel sad for him. I feel that there's, yeah. I'm not angry at being fooled or anything like that. I gave money to some causes of his that the money probably didn't make it to the intended recipient. But I'm not chasing that down or going live whinging. Not whinging. It's not the right word. I'm not going to go live talking about it. They were nominal amounts at the end of the day. You know, I trust people, but I've donated to charities, like in the real world, that have ended up being fraudulent. So, you know, letting some people go past. I'm like you, Kylie. I'm a bit naive. in terms of believing what people say. Well, I suppose it depends whose mouth it's coming out of, right? So if it was someone I just met, I think I'd take everything with a grain of salt. I don't necessarily reach a point where I trust people and what they're saying is true, but I am very gullible. And this goes back to my subject about subs and how's it making you all feel, because there's this kind of, there was all this shit going on and it was pretty intense. There's an aspect of you've lost a friend. There's an aspect of that friend hurt other people you care about. Then there's the aspect of how those people you care about are processing everything, how they're being treated on YouTube. Are they being eyed with suspicion? Are they being supported? Are they being brushed over when other victims are getting a lot of attention? You know, there's so many different aspects to it, and I'm not in a state of confusion that I can't function. I'll never let YouTube ever have that kind of impact on my life. But it just made me think that, you know, all the creators have got their stories, and they're perfectly entitled to tell them. Go for it. But what about the subs? Because there's so many subs. YouTube wouldn't exist without subs. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. It's like when I was practicing law, I got berated by the managing partner because I was really good friends with my secretary, and he said to me, you can't be friends with your secretary because if you have to berate her or if she's not performing, you've got to do a bad performance review. There are going to be times in your relationship that you're going to have to be the boss and you can't be her friend. And I looked at him and I said, I can be friends with whoever I want. And for the record, mate, this firm wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the secretaries and the admins and the PAs. They are the backbone of this building, and we should be looking after them. And I like to think because I'm a friend with my secretary, I don't have to berate her. I can just sit down with her and go, hey, we're not getting this right. Let's fix it. I don't have to be an asshole and berate anyone. And I look at YouTube in a similar kind of way. Like, channel creators can be putting out the most incredible content. It can be visually appealing. It can be perfectly edited. It can be topical and relevant. It can be funny. It can be serious. It can move people. But if nobody's watching, it's worth nothing. It's worth nothing. So I kind of feel that, you know, how do the subs feel about this is full on. Like, is this the stuff that makes people jump off YouTube and find another social media platform to be obsessed with? Because I've thought about going back to Twitter. I still have great memories of my time on Twitter, and it was fun. And I had a couple of fights with a couple of millennials who took everything to heart. I mean, one comment was a specific dig at millennials, but you know. But my memories of being on Twitter were engaging with authors I admire and musicians whose songs I sing and dance to, and I don't know. I could switch off YouTube tomorrow and not miss it. I've got some beautiful friends I've made from being on YouTube, and I think that's been such a blessing with all of this shit happening, because you can't talk about this stuff to your friends and family. In the real world, they look at you like you're insane. So to have real life YouTube friends who you can talk to and go, what the fuck? That's massive. So I have no regrets. But if YouTube got so whack that it was impacting my health, I'd be switching off and going back to Twitter, or if I needed a social. I'll always like a social media outlet because I love my computer and I love being on it to an extent. But you know what I'm saying? Go get the grandkid, old woman. Oh, listen, but today isn't the day I want to die, so I'll refrain from texting. Okay, old woman. I don't know why you would die. Oh, my far, I came back to YouTube just as the only thing had unfolded. I was a mod since the beginning on his channels and it still affected me. Me too, old ma. Me too. And I had someone have a go at me in a chat that I was watching and participating in about the Oni stuff, having a dig at me for giving him money. And it's like, are you having a dig at everyone who gave him money? Because there were a shitload of people that you care about still who gave him money, and are you having a crack at all of them too? You know, and I don't reckon I only could have bought 2 packets of cigarettes with the money that I gave him in super chats. I mean, well, if you added on the little bit of money I gave to some of his little causes, it's not a lot. Like, I'd be surprised if the stuff I gave only exceeded $100. Like, it's tiny. But there's other creators I've funded and given a shitload of money to. But I'd like to think if they all had a fall from grace, I'm not going to have someone in chat having a dig at me and me alone for giving money to that person. Fucking hundreds of people give creators money. There are Patreons that are subscribed financially to creators. Like, if I had known Oni was a cop caller, would I have given him money? No. If I had known Oni was a crook, would I have given him money? No. If I'd known his little fundraising expeditions, the money wasn't going to go to the intended recipient, would I have given him money? Of course I fucking wouldn't have. Who would? Who would? Having issues doesn't excuse his actions. We all have shit going on. I agree, Carly, and I was wary. I mean, I do want to have this live, but I really want to be careful that I've got to be careful that people don't look at the conversation as me defending him, because what he did was fucking inexcusable. And I'm interested in how it's affecting people, but I don't want it to come across like I'm defending him. But on him having issues in terms of mental health issues or whatever sickness he's got, because clearly something's not right. Anyone who listened to him denying he said Jay's name, you know that there's something not right, okay? That side of things, I think at some point all of these panels are going to have to stop. I think if there's factual stuff that needs to come out, I'm 100% behind those creators doing that. But I feel like this is just going to keep ballooning until it, I'm using Bridget Parker's own word, until it implodes. And I mean, she's not talking about this specifically, just anything on YouTube. It's sort of like things just build up and then boom, right? So no, I don't think him having an illness is an excuse. But I do think at some point the gazillion lives, and people will go, well, you're a hypocrite, you're talking about him now. Well, no, I'm talking about subs generally, how the drama, and I'm talking about all of it. How do you feel when you've got a person that you enjoy watching who's suddenly supporting Oni, for example? How does that affect you? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of aspects to it, but I think with the illness side of it, at some point, YouTubers are responsible to not let it keep going forever. And like I said, people that are directly affected, talk about it all you want. I'm 100% behind every single one of you. But these other people that are starting little channels or doing their own little videos or up on panels with opinions, even though they've never watched a thing that he's done, they're the ones that make this stuff balloon and keep going longer, I think. Every creator's on notice at the moment about Oni. If people have got stuff they need to put out there and proof and what, they'd be doing it now, or they would have already done it. But the channels that are still talking about it in 3 weeks' time, to me, I think that's cyberbullying. I hope you know what I'm saying. Anyone who's a direct victim of his, and like I said, I mean, I am on the tiniest scale. I'm not fussed. My money's gone. If I'd given him thousands of dollars, maybe I'd be going, it's not relevant to me to pursue anything. The amount of money that didn't end up in the right person's pocket is tiny. But anyone directly affected by him, a true victim, I have no issue. They can go live until they've told their story. It doesn't bother me. But it's all the other people that get involved. And we've all seen it. I'm sure everyone could probably name at least one sub they've seen somewhere who's suddenly got a channel just talking drama and nothing else, and had nothing to do with the initial thing. And I think at some point that's bullying. I guess though, for it to be bullying, Oni's got to be watching everything, and I don't know. Maybe the law isn't that strict because it's hard to establish if you're being bullied or not. Hey, no, I don't know how to say your name. Odie Paul, Live Football TV. Yeah, I saw you put a comment under my podcast. I'll just call you Odie if that's all right. Oh, a woman's driving and texting. Yeah, don't do that. I don't know if I'm still live or not. I'm down to 29% on my phone too, so I haven't got much longer to chat. I'm nearly back at my track. The battery will last till we get... We're back. Halfway between here and the Bluff is my little track up to my house. Old Ma, oh Tanny, if we had known, we wouldn't have supported. That's across, exactly. So yeah, why I was getting served up a dig about that in a live is, and not just once I might add, but by different people, that someone had a dig at me about being in his birthday video. Well, again, I reckon Ted Bundy had a birthday party that people went to because they were his friend while he was murdering people and didn't realise it. And after it came out he was a murderer, how many people gave them shit for being a friend before they realised he was a fucking asshole? It's the same principle. Chris Watts. So many people said positive things about him after they'd found out he was a murderer. But up until that point, that before they knew that, they were his friends and they gave a fuck about him. I mean, God knows why. I haven't found anything in that book from his letters. There's nothing about him that's likeable. He doesn't... People said he had a great sense of humour. Are you shitting me? He hasn't said one thing. And okay, I mean, it's a dark subject. It is. But you would expect if he had this great sense of humour that there would be some kind of tongue-in-cheek comment or something that would make you even smile, like, or something that he'd say about his kids that you'd go, oh, that's really lovely, he did care about them. But nope. I'm still looking for the elusive comment or statement in a letter from him. I haven't finished yet. I can't stand it. Every time I pick up and read it, my hands feel like they're on fire. Old Ma, he needs to admit 100% to all he's done, give a genuine apology and get the help he needs. Well, I think that's what they were kind of hoping would happen when they went, Gareth! Gareth! Hi, Gareth! Hello. I know Gareth. Old Ma, I think in the real world, with reasonable, decent people, that's what would happen. I feel the same way. I think that's what he needs to do. I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. Sadly. And there are some people that, he deserves a massive apology too, but I don't think that they're going to listen or take it seriously. I mean, would Jay? How could she? Him apologising publicly is not going to change the confusion I'm feeling, and I think a lot of us are. Just how do we all fall for this shit again? And who's the next one going to be? But like everyone else, it's really hard to switch off. I'm invested. I love some of these people. Loved some and still do love quite a few. And that's another thing I want to chat about. Like, how do we get to that point that we even feel love for people on YouTube? It's kind of weird. I mean, I've made friends online. I've got a beautiful friend who's been in my life for nearly 20 years. We still haven't met in the flesh. We met online, and he is one of my closest friends. Like, it's a genuine, beautiful, supportive, true friendship. And I love him to bits. And me not having ever been in the same room as him has absolutely no bearing on that. I can't see my shoes. It's the only thing I found them. It's the only thing I don't like. Sometimes I think if my shoes washed away, walking back up through the track, once I get it to my street and it's gravel, it's really, really bad on your feet. It's an unpleasant walk home. I always feel if I bring my stinky old sneakers down that no one's going to touch them, and sure enough, they're sitting there. Biscuit's such a bitch. My sneakers, these sneakers are like really old ones, and I do wash them pretty regularly, but they're Skechers, and I think Skechers are just notorious for being stinky sneakers. But Biscuit will sniff my shoe, and then she pulls his face with her mouth partly open. She's like, yeah. Nothing like the honesty of an animal to put you back in your box. I'm like, yeah, it's gross. However, she is also obsessed with them, so it's kind of like, well, you've smelled them before. Why are you suddenly so surprised? All right, let's sit here for a minute. I think everyone's stopped chatting now anyway. I'll probably schedule a live for us to all talk about the reality of being a sub on YouTube. Or, you know, I guess it's going to be a lot of people's realities. Everyone's realities are going to be a little bit different. But I might schedule that for the weekend where we've all got time, and also because I suspect there'll be another week of stuff. I don't know if I'm live anymore, and chat seems to be frozen. Or have I just got 9 lurkers in here now? And oh my god, there's people swimming. There's people in the water. It'd be nice when the clouds go. Well, it'll be hot when the clouds go. In fact, the clouds can stay. This has really divided the YouTube community from what I've seen and heard, and no one likes to be fooled. It makes subscribers lose trust. Still live. Thank you, old Mafra. I think the YouTube community's been divided for a long time. But what I don't like about the drama community is that, you know, people have been referring to sides, and you're on one side or the other. And I really like going into the channels of people that I'm not that fond of and hearing what they've got to say. I mean, some of them I think are just not worth listening to for very long, because they're not really expressing things in an intelligent fashion that's worth listening. They're just purely shouting and being arseholes, right? But I don't like this thing about teams and sides, because, I mean, I'm certainly aligned to to channels where people are questioning stuff. And I've been criticised for some of the people that I like watching. But the reason I like watching them is because they question things. Now, they may not necessarily be a person that I would go out to lunch with or dinner with or sit in a bar with for hours on end. But the fact that they're questioning stuff, or that they're looking at things from a slightly different perspective, that to me is interesting to listen to, because it makes me think differently. It challenges my thoughts on stuff. Some of my opinions are based on direct experience, and there isn't anything anyone's going to say that's going to change that necessarily. Like, if it's an opinion that I've formed because I was directly involved, then that's, you know, I mean, I've got my opinion on the only stuff, and I swear to God I could hear 500 more stories. It's not going to change my opinion. Like, you know, I really only had to hear that police call stuff to make my decision on that. But I'll go into channels, yeah, of people that I'm not necessarily that interested in, but if they question things a little bit, and they're not doing it from a bad place, and they're not trying to, some people are, and I don't watch them either, if they're trying to just, what's the word, undermine somebody else, then I'm not interested in that. But when they're questioning and asking for more, like we have been a bit today, like, you know, if you see proof of anything, and unfortunately that's just the way it is, because anyone can go on YouTube and say whatever the fuck they want. But when you see proof, then those are things you go, okay, this has happened. Here's the proof. And then suddenly you'll have someone else saying that's a doctored screenshot, or that's this, or that's that, whatever. The beauty of that audio file is we all heard his voice. It's proof, full stop, right? But yeah, I do watch people who make me question a lot about the way I think about things. But I'm also encouraged by watching people who are questioning stuff. Because to me, not a lot of people on YouTube question much at all, sadly. But yeah, back to you, Oldmar, and your comment. I think the divide's been there for a long time. But I also think there's a shitload of subs like me and like you guys that will bounce around and you know, I'll try everything on a food platter. I may not like all of the things that I taste, but they might be interesting enough to keep trying them over and over until they may become something I like in my diet. That's how I look at it. And then there's other things you put in your mouth and straight up, you know, that's fucking disgusting. I'm not eating that shit ever again. And that's how I kind of look at YouTube channels. You've got your favourites. You've got things that you like a little bit. You've got things that you don't necessarily like, but they're kind of interesting, so you might let them grow on you. And then you've got the things that you put in your mouth that are just repugnant, and you know you'll never eat one again. And that's sort of how I look at YouTube. And I think it's sad. Again, here's this pack mentality. I think it's sad if someone is seen in one channel, then they're automatically labelled to be on a certain side. Fuck off. Don't label me. Yeah, I do lean towards the channels that question. Yeah, I do comment more in them because I'm inspired. I want to chat. I want to talk to people. I want to see how people feel about shit. But anyone that labels me being on a certain team, go fuck yourself. I'm not... There's a million teams on YouTube. There's not two. That's the other thing. The sheer arrogance of the true crime community that they think there's two sides on YouTube. Well, to some people there's two sides in the true crime community, but that's it. There's a bit of arrogance. I think they're the only channels that people are watching. Go and fucking subscribe to channels. What's the latest one I've subscribed to? It's a channel that has videos for cats. I put one with goldfish on it on the floor last night for Biscuit, and she loved it. And they upload something every day. But they don't go live. I'm trying to think of something I watch. Okay, the whiskey drinking lawyer that I watch, Rakita Law. He questions shit. His chat questions shit. He's talking about crime. He doesn't know who the fuck Oni is. He's not on one of the two sides in the true crime community. Like, fuck off. The Chris Watts true crime community is like its own little community. And if they want to decide there's sides in there, that's their call. But like I said, don't put me on a side. But there's massive crime channels that have been around forever who don't know who the fuck Oni is. They've never heard of him. And I go into Rakita Law's chat and chat him there. What side am I on? I'm not on a fucking side. I'm in Rakita Law's chat. I highly recommend the whiskey drinking lawyer if anyone wants to. He talks about cases I've never heard of, and it's really interesting. And his chat's fantastic. And he gets drunker and drunker. He's very entertaining. And he's got, you know, a shitload of subs. I mean, he's a substance channel. That's the other thing. It's kind of easy to switch off from YouTube if you're only hanging out in what I sort of call the Chris Watts true crime crew, because they're all small fry at the end of the day. Until I see... This guy too, Rakita Law, has 3,000 people in his chat, and his chat is firing. He doesn't put it on slow mode, and you see someone with a wrench once every 5 minutes. It's got like one mod. Or two, you know, like... Big channels. They don't know who the fuck Oni is, and they're not on a side. I want you to live another day, old woman. Goodbye. Yeah, I'm behind because it's really slow loading, unfortunately. I mean, there's okay reception on the beach, but it's not that reliable. I need to go up and eat. I'm getting really hungry, and it's what, 9... Fuck, it's 9:30 already? Wow. I agree, Kylie. It's not ever a community. I agree. I mean, we like to think it is, but it's not. And if that's what a community's like, I don't want to live in one. I live in a place that has an awesome community, and that's another thing we should chat about at some point, just how different, like, Australians handle this shit. Like, if you have a disagreement with someone, you call them up, you go around and see them, you tell each other what you think, you shake hands and get on with it, or you agree to disagree and part company. Done. Not a year of rehashing the same old shit. And I'm not talking about Oni. He's going to be the topic until the next villain is identified, but I just can't believe how long it's all gone on for. When I'm watching something going down, my thought is intent. Yeah, it makes you cynical. I said that last night to a friend of mine. Like, YouTube doesn't only make you paranoid, it also makes you cynical, and that's another reason pulling away from it's a good thing to do, unless you want to become a cynical, paranoid person. John says that all the time too. Oh, about intent, yeah. Bye, old my fra. Have a lovely day, night, everyone. I'm out of here too. I hope you all have some moments today or tonight in your life that make you feel loved, or let someone you know you love them. Focus on positive stuff, and remember that YouTube is just like TV or radio. It's not a huge part of our lives. It is a bit of background noise. Put it back into perspective, and I'll schedule a chat. I mean, I'm happy with the small crew that I get, but I'll schedule a chat maybe for next weekend so all the subs can just have their say. Because, yeah, like I said earlier, it doesn't matter how great the content is or how spectacular it is or how visually appealing it is, if no one's watching, if there aren't any subs in there, it's worthless. So I'd like the subs to be able to all talk about how this has affected him, because even just from this little chat, it's pretty obvious. Everyone's had slightly different experiences. It's quite fascinating. So I love you guys. Stay groovy, and we'll all talk soon. Bye for now.